Said second place is a whole lot better than third, fourth, fifth, and so on that don't even get a medal. Just not as good as first. He gave it everything.
Thus a chapter ends in Danny's athletic life, and a movie camera is not the only witness. Louise Hudson has been watching too, exulting and suffering with Danny. She has won her heat. Danny has lost half of what he came for. Danny finally relaxes, as do many of his American friends. Tomorrow waits with new challenges.
And now we put end to 7 days of competition. Good results, some world records, a very nice time we had together.
But enough has been done today. It's time to enjoy the games and Bucharest.
Să fir de floare, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Inimioara rău mă doare, trai lai lai la la lai la. Mai băgi să fir de floare, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Inimioara rău mă doare, trai lai lai la la lai la. Ai plecat și m-ai uitat, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Jale în suflet mi-ai lăsat, trai lai lai la la lai la. M-ai lăsat oftând în poartă, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Și ce-ai dus la altă față, trai lai lai la la lai la. M-ai lăsat oftând în poartă, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Și ce-ai dus la altă față, trai lai lai la la lai la. Doar eu ce-am necăjit, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Să pe mine m-ai părăsit, trai lai lai la la lai la. Băgișorule, măi trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Oc negrica murele, măi trai lai lai la la lai la. Băgișorule, măi trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Oc negrica murele, măi trai lai lai la la lai la. Cu noi iar în poieniță, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Îți dau flori și-a mea guriță, trai lai lai la la lai la. Îmi ochi și lăcrămioară, trai lai lai la la lai la la la. Când am dat și-n prima seară, trai lai lai la la lai la.
When the gun goes off, deaf people feel it. Even swimmers who hit the water before the sound dies away. The swimmers are a key element in the U.S. effort at the World Games for the Deaf. 17-year-old Jeff Float more than lives up to his name. He's a human dolphin. Even against hearing athletes, he is often the best man. And now he wins 10 gold medals and a good chance at the regular Olympics in Moscow in 1980. At 14, Laura Barber may seem a child, but if Jeff Float is the best man, she is the best woman. Winning 10 gold medals herself, she and Jeff rank as the best deaf swimmers ever. Americans also excel in running. The long jump, the hurdles, the javelin throw. The Americans face setbacks, but they stay tough. With the strength and grit their deafness has built in them, some even find it possible to stumble and then win. In the World Games, it does not matter that many of the competitors rarely speak. An oral language would be of little use to them here anyway. For this is intensity beyond words. Exhaustion is commonplace, and victory alone is really good medicine. The fun between events often takes a playful, almost childish turn. It's a badly needed release. Patriotism is a constant here. But amid the beauty, it soon will lead to something ugly. race begins routinely, an old rivalry between the U.S. and Soviet teams in the 100-meter run. For the Americans, a sweep. Garner first, Milford second, Namba third. But now among the officials, something is wrong. It goes unnoticed by the Americans who have defeated the Russian world record holder. But something is wrong. U.S. coach Hank White learns of it and protests.
All the years I've been associated with track and field, I have never experienced anything like this in my life. This is nothing but railroad here. This is a railroad job.
Before the race, a Russian sprinter was disqualified on a technicality. It was an official mistake. The Soviets could challenge it and beat it, but did not try until after the U.S. team won the race. Then they brought it up and overturned the American win. A Soviet victory in itself. The race will have to be run again. That sends U.S. coach Tom Berg into a cold rage. "I'm angry," he says. "You're in charge. You have to do something about this." The Romanian official is put on the spot. He says the 100-meter final must be run again. "The official has decreed it that way. It must be run over," he says. The controversy has caused confusion to the other coaches. They ask, "What is happening?" "It must start all over," says Berg. He explains what happened. One of the Russian finalists was competing in the long jump. He was supposed to start the race with the others, but the official at the long jump pit did not permit him to go to the 100-meter race. It was that official's error, says Berg. Berg is upset and he warns the official, "We Americans always play fair. We will run again, but I am not sure how the other countries will react." Berg is, in effect, scolding the Romanian, but it's to no avail. The official's decision stands. Now another decision must be made by 3 American runners. It's a choice, not between running the race over or withdrawing, but a choice between winning again and losing. A matter of pride, ability, and will. Coach Berg is pleased. He says, "I know my boys. They are strong. They've practiced long. They should do okay. But you never know." What happens on the first attempt at a 100-meter rerun is a false start by the Soviets. It shouldn't happen. The athletes can feel the gun go off and see the flag drop. But a second Russian false start occurs. Clearly, the dispute over the original race has drawn the runners' nerves as tight as bowstrings. A German sprinter seems intent on finishing. He should. It's his only chance of winning. Yes? Finally, a clean race. And another American sweep. The same 3 runners have changed places among themselves, but preserved a major physical and moral victory for the United States. The U.S.-Soviet confrontations in the Deaf Games and the regular Olympics go back many years. This is a glorious moment for the Americans. U.S. 1, 2, 3, says Brian Sheehy. And maybe the young competitors can be forgiven for enjoying one sweet twist of irony. The same official who ruled against them earlier, unfairly in their eyes, is now obliged to adorn them with medals. In the 400-meter race, Louise Hudson seeks a medal, her first gold medal, the one that eluded her in Sweden 4 years earlier. But early in the race, she is passed by a German marvel named Rita Windbreak. Danny Fitzpatrick watches. 400 meters is not a long stretch in which to catch a surging runner, and he fears for Louise's chances. At the finish, she is fourth again. Danny gives her credit for that, but credit is not enough. Windbreak has paid a high price and won. Louise gave her all and lost. Yet, although she's not up there receiving a medal, there is no shame to it. She and the three winners have all broken the deaf world's record. Louise really has little to regret. So, what hits her as a band plays the Olympic victory anthem? Is it losing, exhaustion, or what? The day of the discus moves closer. For Danny, it could bring disaster or redemption. Being deaf, he has learned to imagine, and now his mind reaches out to touch the things he has given and given up to be here in Bucharest. The days and months behind Danny Fitzpatrick were tough, happy, constructive. Now they converge, drawing him past his second-place finish in the shot put to the discus, where Danny is once again among others who are deaf and determined. The Swede will see if he can dominate the discus throw, too. Brian Sheehy is confident. He is the world's record holder. The Russian is strong and a heavy psychological threat to the Americans. But it's newcomer Jeff Holcomb who takes the first-round lead. Danny is in second place, hanging on, when Brian and the Russian Igorov move ahead of him. And in fourth place, Danny is worried. It's only the second round, but he's worried. The top three seem to compete without him for a while, jockeying for position. Each embodies what Danny believes. If you can't hear, you should develop other things, other skills and strengths. Don't depend on anybody else in the clutch. Do it yourself. At this moment, if Danny is not to eat his own words, he must put them into practice. He must come from behind. No one else can help, not even a teammate, not in this individual competition in which Jeff Holcomb now astonishes onlookers by breaking the world record. The closest thing to help comes when the mighty Bo Goran Hendrickson, so crushing as a champion in the shot put, fouls 5 times in the discus. Danny is not alone in his frustration. But before the end, he has one more chance. His coach tries to attract his attention, give him a boost from the stands. Danny signals his concern, keeps pacing, preparing, looking back for whatever he can still learn. But there's really no time left to teach him. His mother and aunt are in the stands, but despite the support, there has never been so solitary a creature as Danny Fitzpatrick. Far from home, stepping up for one final stretch toward the top.